Thank you, Don, for the Toastmasters and guests. One of the first things I like to do with new audience, in fact, we got 7 guests here tonight, is to tell them a little bit about my name, Tom Terrific. Let's all say that together. Ready? Tom Terrific. Yeah. Let me tell you a secret. Don't let it out of this room, though. That's not my real name. My real name is this. It's Thomas Joseph Krauske Jr. Let's try that together. Ready? Thomas Joseph Krauske Jr. Well, now you're saying, well, how come you're not using your God-given name? How come you're using this fake name? Well, let me tell you why. I like to use the name Tom Terrific because when I say it, it reminds me of how I want to be. I don't want to be average, pretty good, or not too bad. I want to be terrific. I want to associate with terrific people like we have here tonight. I want to have a terrific house and a terrific wife and a terrific butterfly garden. I want to be terrific in health and exercise at the gym where we go. The second reason I like to use the name Tom Terrific is that when I go up to somebody brand new, and I say, hi, my name's Tom Terrific. What's yours?
Anna Awesome.
Anna Awesome. Excellent. You fit right in, Anna. You're on my team. Well, you know, usually people, so let's try Drew. Hi, Drew, Tom Terrific. What's your name?
Drew Smith.
Drew Smith. Okay, you know, what usually happens is they smile and I smile, and it's a nice little happy moment. And then what happens is they'll come up to me a little bit later, and they'll say, hey, is your name really terrific? And then the third reason I like to use the name Tom Terrific is because it's a lot easier to remember than Thomas Joseph Krauske Jr., right? So if you ever want to find Tom Terrific, go out on the internet, TomTerrific.com. That's me. There are millions of Tom Terrifics out there. I'm the only one with that website. Now, Carl was talking about fear that we have in public speaking, and actually there are a lot of fears beside that, and George is going to help us with a list of the top 10 fears. George, would you mind reading those off?
Certainly, these are the list of the top 10 fears as put together by David Walashensky. Number 10, fear of dogs. Number 9, fear of loneliness. Not if you have a dog. Number 8, fear of flying. Number 7, fear of heights, kind of related. Number 6, fear of sickness. Number 5, fear of deep water. Number 4, fear of money problems. Number 3, fear of insects and bugs. The number 2 most powerful fear, fear of death. And the number 1 most powerful fear is the fear of public speaking.
Thank you, George. So as Jerry Seinfeld would say, death is number 2. So that means for the average person, if you're going to a funeral, you'd rather be the person in the casket than the person giving the eulogy. It's terrible. Now, probably at this point, you're saying to yourself, gee, I wonder when he's going to get into his topic. I wonder when he's really going to talk about all of these 40 different things that he's talking about. Well, actually, I have, by example, I've been doing a lot of these different things. Let's talk about preparation and practice, which Carl was talking about. I actually have a rule, is an hour of preparation and practice for each minute that you're going to speak. So, if we have a 7-minute speech, we have 70 hours. 70. See, now that's a teacher. Actually, well, 7 hours. That's what he tells his students. I'm glad I'm not your student. I tell you that.
Well, you'd like
7. So it's 7 hours for 7 minutes. So here's what happens, unfortunately. And Aaron can attest to that because Aaron's like a classic English 101 person. You start sitting at the computer and you start typing. And 6 hours and 47 minutes later, you're done. You say, oh my God, I guess I better practice. So for that last 13 minutes, you practice your speech and you maybe get in front of the mirror, maybe you do it. But it's really a shame because it really should be 50-50. You really need to cut down on the length of the speech, work on your delivery, work on your gestures and body movement and all of those different things. The other thing you need to consider that you can be nervous about is your appearance. How are you dressed? And the general rule, again, is to dress to the level of the audience plus a little bit more. You know, I could have worn a suit tonight, but I knew nobody else was going to wear a suit. And so I figured probably a sports coat and a tie would be appropriate. You can always take off your coat, you can always take off your tie, but I mean, that's just another little thing that you want to take care of. Think about that before you actually get up here and give a presentation. The third thing you want to do is you want to arrive early. If I'm giving a speech at 7 o'clock, I always get there by 6 o'clock. And I do that for a lot of different reasons. Number one, you want to check out the room. Maybe you can even practice your speech. If it's a short speech, you can practice it in the room. You can go around to people. I make a point. I go around and I shake every person's hand that's in the room. So now, instead of having 50 people that are strangers, I have 50 friends in the audience. So now you've got that taken care of. Also, you need to think about technology. Last week we had a problem with the screen. The screen wouldn't come down. Luckily, Steve had a backup screen. So you need to get there early, check out your technology. If you're doing PowerPoint, make sure everything's working. Again, that's just another way you can relax. Get there early, take care of all of this stuff. If you come in at the last minute, you're really going to be asking for trouble. And I made a point, one of the things I did up here when I got up to speak is, after I said, "Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster," is I paused. And that's a good way to start. You can take a little breath. You can maybe internally, you can say relax. And just get your nerves under control. And then, what's most important, you need to memorize your opening. You need to know it, and for cold, you don't want to have to think about it. I've done that Tom Terrific opening hundreds of times, and I don't have to think about it, but that's what you want. You don't want to be standing up here reading your opening to your audience. You want to know it cold. You want to get that eye contact. You want to be relaxed. Also, that first 30 seconds or minute, if you can, you know your opening, why not get out in front? Right at the beginning of your speech, when you're most nervous, you're most tense. You have all of this energy pent up. And you don't know what to do with it, and if you're stuck behind the lectern, you really can't get rid of it. So if you can, get out in front of the lectern a little bit, move around, use some hand gestures, talk to some people, shake hands, do whatever you can to release some of that tension. Then you can go back to the lectern and you can give the rest of the program. Now let me close with this. We in Toastmasters have a program called Youth Leadership. It's for young kids. And one week we had a young girl, Mary, she's about 14 years old, and she came to the Toastmaster meeting and she gave a speech to 30 adults. So if you can imagine that, a 14-year-old girl giving a speech in front of 30 adults, pretty intimidating. But she did a great job. She was really, you could tell that she enjoyed it. And I don't remember exactly what the speech was about, but I do remember what she said when it was all done. She said, "Thank you very much. I really enjoyed my time here, and I hope you invite me back so I can speak again." And then at the end of the meeting, her mother stood up and she said, "Oh, thank you for inviting my daughter. She really did a good job, but I hope you never invite me back to speak to you again." And I thought to myself, what happens between young Mary and older mom? What happens between 14 and 44? And the answer is we either use it or we lose it. So I encourage you to come back to Toastmasters, to use it, to try to embrace all of the things that we're talking about. This book that I have, it's actually a free download. Obviously, I can't go through all the 40 points tonight. You can download it online, look at it. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to stick around and talk to you later on. But if you do all of these things, I guarantee you will be one terrific speaker. Mr. Toastmaster.